All right, we're going to look at what many of you wrote in over the last week. We're going to start with something that is scary too much. Is it too much to call this scary? This is where we are right now. Wright commented on YouTube, "I, as well as every other MAGA fan, will never vote for anyone else but for the true president, Donald Trump. He could be behind bars, and we will still vote for him. Trump is the only one that we can trust right now." This is a cult. We know that this is a cult. We've spoken to cult experts. We've spoken to conspiracy experts. We've spoken about brainwashing. Every expert looks this up and down and says, yes, this is a cult. But we also have to deal with the political reality on the ground. And so when we see, Tim Scott announced that he's running. Tim Scott is somehow going to win a Republican primary over Trump. Give me a break. Ron DeSantis is trying to be like Trump, but be different than Trump. One aspect of why these guys don't really have a shot is because of them. The other aspect of why they don't have a shot is because of people like Wright. Trump has assembled a cult of personality around him that is unlike, and listen, I never like to say we've never seen it in history. No, they're overt cult leaders and they have cult followers. That's not new. But in the modern American political era, there has never been a cult around an elected official in the United States the way we see around Donald Trump. So when Wright says this stuff, the true president is Trump. He could be behind bars and I'll vote for him. Believe them, because they're telling us the truth. And the question for us is, how do we ensure that Trump doesn't get another 4 years? The answer is quite simple, but making it happen is another question. Let's look at some other messages that came in. The Teen Gunsmith said, oh boy, on YouTube, "Don't ban books in schools except for heavy violence or sexual items like gender queer, for example." Now, every time I see stuff like this, I'm of two minds. On the one hand, the Bible has to be banned based on this, right? I mean, there's no way to follow this guideline, heavy violence and sexual items. You must ban the Bible from school if you actually are going to be serious about that. But then I'm also reminded that when you look at what materials have been banned from schools, it's often just a completely unremarkable novel, the coming to age novel, where the main character or the author happen to be LGBT. Ban it. Okay? And so, yes, they're hypocrites because the Bible is fine, but also their standards are extraordinarily pathetic. And it shows such a lack of tolerance for anything other than what they, I guess, now pretend school kids need, which is stories by heterosexual writers about how great America is. That seems to be the epitome of what they want. They truly can't handle any other ideas, any other identities, any other sort of content. They are the very snowflakes they claim that the left actually is. Caddy Lover says, "Name one law that has been passed that censors," that's not the right version of censors, "that censors the thing you are claiming. If you are referring to limiting teachers from discussing topics like gender, sexual orientation, or the making up of multiple pronouns with children in 1 AR second or third grade, I would ask, how are you okay with it?" I don't even know what this person is asking. It's clear they don't like the left-wing perspective and they favor the Don't Say Gay bill. But what I really need people to understand is when they talk about parents' rights and being heard at school board meetings and blah, 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 all this different stuff, this is the type of commentary they want to hear at school board meetings. They want to turn the school board meeting into a veritable circus sideshow with stuff like this. And that's exactly what they did during the pandemic era with the masks and at other times. And if they were to be in control, that's who would be in charge. That should scare every single one of us. A Florida son says, say what you want about his personality, him being DeSantis. Florida has one of the best economies in the U.S. We're below average for crime, both violent and property crime. He doesn't govern with his personality. He's not out to be a reality TV star. He knows how to get the job done. That is what should be important. A beautiful story, but it is only a story. As I told you before, Florida doesn't have one of the best economies in the U.S. It's right around 25th. It's average. You take any state in the country, there's a 50-50 shot that it has a better versus worse economy than Florida. Florida's economy is totally middle of the road. Florida's crime rate, totally middle of the road. It's not particularly good. It's not particularly bad. Access to healthcare in Florida, very mediocre. Infrastructure in Florida, similarly, middle of the road. And so the story of this Florida success that DeSantis is touring the country talking about, if it's examined even at all, it immediately becomes clear Florida is right in the middle, not a particularly successful state, not a particularly unsuccessful state. And then the question becomes whether we think that that record is worthy of a presidential candidate. Republicans will have to answer that question first. They can decide. Are we impressed by the Florida record of DeSantis enough to make him the nominee instead of Donald Trump? Non-Quack wrote in and said, let me ask a question. Should business owners be able to choose whether or not they require masks, but not be completely controlled by the state if they don't wish to bake a cake for a gay wedding? Well, it's a beautiful analogy, except that it is completely nonsensical. When in the United States, we talked about protected classes of people, in some states, LGBT identity, gender identity, sexual orientation is a protected class. If indeed LGBT is a protected class, then discriminating against someone on that basis would be against the law. Whereas saying we have a policy here where you've got to wear shoes or you've got to wear a mask or whatever would be a completely different category. Now, I'm not an unreasonable person. If what individuals are saying is there should be no protected classes and everybody should be allowed to do whatever they want and say, we don't want black people in this store, we don't allow Jewish customers here or whatever, if that's the world that you want to see, well, take that position or take the position that is on the opposite of that. But don't make this false analogy because we have something called protected classes. You might not like that, but it is the reality. And thus it makes the mask versus gay wedding cake question a completely irrelevant question under the law. Now, if you want the law changed, by all means, go and advocate for that. Lynette posted on Facebook, if DeSantis was smart, he would wait and run in 2028, but he's too greedy and narcissistic to play the long game. And we all know that he's not too smart. I've talked about this before. On the one hand, I don't see a path for DeSantis to get to 50% support in the Republican primary, which he needs to be the nominee. So one view would be, dude, Trump's already got 55, 60%. You can't win. Just wait it out. Run in 2028. The counterpoint to that, and I understand this, is most governors aren't polling 20% in the Republican primary. It's true. Most senators aren't polling 20% in the Republican primary. So if you're Ron DeSantis, it could be difficult to look at that polling and say 20% before I even announce, I'm going to wait 4 years. It's very difficult to do that. It's sort of like in poker when you flopped high pair and you know you should probably fold, but you just can't quite get away from it. You want to see it through and see how you do, even if it cripples your ability to run again in the future. I think Lynette makes a good point, and I also see why DeSantis would not be motivated by that. Okay, a bunch of commentary about the Christopher Key urine drinking interview. Baron Steuben posted, "This was an incredibly insightful interview into how trauma can affect the cognition of otherwise reasonable individuals. I appreciate David's thoughtful handling of this interview and not allowing it to descend into a farce, despite the outrageous statements made by Christopher. It's important to understand why these individuals think like this in order to treat and prevent such delusions." Agree 100%. We really learned a lot about the sad reality of how Christopher Key ended up allegedly drinking and injecting urine. I will mention, I don't know that he was really drinking urine. I don't know that he really injects urine. And people wrote to me and said, do we really have proof that he's actually drinking urine and not apple juice? And the answer is we really don't. We're taking him at his word. Not necessarily the type of guy you want to take at his word, but okay. A worker bee from Wisconsin says, "I wish the media would report gun injuries over deaths to get a better picture of the damage done by mass shootings." And this is an interesting point, which says, for example, the 2017 Las Vegas shooting had 60 deaths, but over 400 gunshot injuries, with an additional 450 injuries from fleeing danger. How many of those 400 wounded victims are permanently disabled or worse now? It would be nice to turn the narrative away from strictly mortality and include serious injury as well. Just reporting death seems to minimize the carnage for the benefit of the gun lobby. I believe that this is a good point, and I'm going to make an effort to say killed and injured as well. We don't always have completely accurate data on that, but I think that that is a good point, and we shouldn't understate. I mean, if 6 people die, but 80 are also in hospitals, some in critical condition, some serious, etc., that is 100% part of the damage done by these mass shooters. And we shouldn't ignore that. So I'll try to do a better job. Email info@davidpakman.com if you have something to say. We will have a fantastic bonus show for you today. We are off Monday, Memorial Day, but it is the day of our huge membership special. If you are interested in becoming a member, if you might want to become a member and get all of the great member benefits we offer, this Monday, Memorial Day, we'll be sending out an email in the morning, maybe 10 a.m., seems like a good time, Eastern, and it'll contain a coupon code and instructions for signing up for a membership at a comical discount. To be notified, get on my mailing list at davidpakman.com.